Coleman Foundation has been going strong for almost 30 years now. It was established by Nancy Brinker after her sister died from breast cancer in 1982 after a 3-year battle with the dreaded disease. Susan told Nancy on her deathbed to do whatever she could to make sure that this never happened to another woman, or that another woman wouldn't be taken away from her family. Her sister Susan was only 36 years old with a husband and a young child. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, statistics show that breast cancer is the second leading cause of death for women with cancers, right under lung cancer. According to the statistics from the Surveillance, Epidemiology, and End Results, or SEER fact sheet, an estimated 192,370 women will be diagnosed with, and 40,170 will die from cancer in 2009. To better understand why Nancy Brinker's fight is an amazing one, first we are going to explain why we chose this speaker. Next, we will look at the significance of this particular speech. Third, we will look at the particular speaker's communication styles. And finally, we'll see why the speaker is an inspiration to all.
Now, Nancy Brinker is a very aggressive, strong woman. And to better understand her and to understand what we can learn from her, let's take a look into her life. First, we chose this speaker because she represents triumph. She has triumphed over many different obstacles, including breaking the silence about breast cancer. She has fought the disease herself, and she figured out a way to keep her promise to her sister. When she started the fight against breast cancer, it was not something people would talk about openly. When breast cancer was first discovered, people reacted as if it was contagious, and women would be ridiculed if they had it. So they just wouldn't deal with it. They wouldn't talk about it. They just would deal with it alone and suffer through it alone. In 1984, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She told the doctors, you know what, just take them off. I don't want this. I can deal with this. Bring the fight on. And she went through chemotherapy. She went through radiation. She went through all kinds of treatments. And thank God she's been in remission ever since. Now, she started the foundation. She started the Susan G. Komen Foundation with only $200 in her pocket, a typewriter, and a hat with names of people that she thought they might be interested in helping her, people that might be able to get involved. She later met Norman Brinker, her current husband. He's a multi-millionaire. So as you can see, she stopped working because money came in. So she stopped working and she just dedicated all her time to help people. Her first event was put together in Dallas, Texas. Only 800 people showed up. But as you can see now, it has been growing ever since. Now, the Susan G. Komen Foundation contributes to over $750 million to different types of research in cancer. In her fight, she has had to convince many people to join her cause. Now, let's take a look at why this speech is so significant. She was able to persuade medical professionals to put cancer in a place of importance, to do something about it. She says,
all of us involved in the work of global health and women's health in particular need to better understand what we are up against. And we've done it before. You and leaders like you have already came together to spare millions from this preventable, suffering, infectious disease. This is one of the great stories of our time. And there is no measuring grief avoided and the lives that have been saved.
She is clearly trying to persuade the health professionals that cancer is a threat, that it's a big issue. She is trying to persuade the health professionals to be a part of this fight. And she says,
did you know 40% of all cancers are curable and preventable? strong, with all the treatments that have been developed, this should be a source of confidence to call clear to action. We have the duty and the ability to save millions of lives in years to come. And we can't meet this crisis by clinging to old attitudes and myths about cancer. It is by no stretch a rich country's disease, but if we fail to act, the treatments and the cures for cancer will become a rich county's luxury, and that would be an unjust we must never accept.
She says it's time to call in action. In other words, just get up, do something for this cause.
Along with the aggressive approach she takes with life, she is bold even in her dealings with the public. In this speech, which was given at the Dinner for Women's Health, Global Health Council, and Susan G. Komen for the Cure on September 22nd, 2009, she shows her personable and bold personality.
I realize many of you are here following an arduous journey, and that was just getting around Manhattan during General Assembly Week.
Here, she draws the crowd in with a joke about Manhattan's traffic, lightening the mood and also keeping the audience's attention. This is a good example of her extemporaneous speaking skills.
Because women are the center of their communities, the ones teaching, child rearing, and nurturing, we are right to make them the center of our work in public health.
This is a bold statement because she shows the audience how she feels about women and where they stand with her.
We are right to be appalled and to stride into action when we look at the state of maternal health in our world. We hear of women dying every day in childbirth, usually for lack of the most basic care.
Here, she appeals to us using pathos or emotions by saying we should be appalled and stirred to action when a woman dies from lack of basic medical care.
Today, Susan G. Komen for the Cure has 120 athletes in the United States and 3 in international markets. We have supported scientists and advocacies in 50 countries over the past 27 years. We've devoted more than $1.3 billion to research and community programs.
She bombards the audience with numbers and statistics to show what can be done and how her organization has helped. She uses ethos to establish her credibility and logos to appeal to our logic and reach the audience.
It is bad enough that cancer victims in many countries are unscreened, undiagnosed, and untreated right up until death, right up until the end, without so much as pain medication, in the statistical equivalent of an unmarked grave. The cause of their suffering and death isn't even specified.
She appeals to us using pathos, again, by comparing a person's death and suffering to an unmarked grave, showing they are being overlooked and not properly recognized.
Anyone who takes up the work of an advancing public health and fighting disease is going to have their share of disappointments. But as for me, 30 years worth of laboring in this field has only left me the feeling more confident in the ultimate victory.